Okay, this is an important message. Um, this is someone who always asks, and this question stuck the so many people's between this lot of confusion. The Jewish haplotype. Let me explain to you. Uh, the largest Jewish population in haplotype in the world is over 50% of the J haplotype between J1 and the J2. And there will be about 30% is E1B1B. And there's the twin brothers, E1B1A. It is not count E1B1B part of haplotype is second largest. And the third one is R1s, R1A and R1B is about 20%. And followed by a smaller haplotype, G, I, T, and also considering the newly appointed Jewish haplotype is N1B and then Q1B. And it still continues. How did it become? Every haplotype is passing down from haplotype Adam, which is A. And this haplotype is particularly comes from Africa. And as we know, the DNA test you take, every human beings coming from Africa. That's what they tell you. But counting on, if you finding out in the Bronze Age, in the particular haplotype over, which was the during the Natufian times, what are these Jewish haplotypes were. And you could have found this element sometimes very confusing because of there is between E1B1B and J1 haplotype. But J haplotype, J1 haplotype is 99% of the Arab Muslim haplotype. And another word, it is called haplotype Ishmael. 99.8% probably all belongs to Ishmael. And billions of Muslims in the Middle East and the North Africa inherited from the J haplotype. Muslims and Arabs. That's why it is called Ishmael haplotype. But then this is another thing you have to remember. After the when the Noah's son left Noah's Ark from the Mount Ararat, sons of Noah were the three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Always I do believed the Shem is J, and Ham is E, and Japheth is R. No matter the fact that the R1s A, R1B, it is called Indo-European Aryan haplotype, Indo-Aryan haplotype. The Indo-Aryan haplotype, a new derived haplogroup, in the 21st, overwhelmed in the 21st century, the person who is the Iranic Aryan tribe during the time of the Book of Esther. Darius, the king of both Persia and Kurdish. The Kurdish king, King Darius, during the time of Book of Esther, whole Indo-Iranians or the Aryan group of people from Iran, whole Persians, Iranians, or you can call Kurds, under the Kurdish kingdom in the King Darius, converted to becoming a Jew. And very much so that the Mount Zagros in the western part of Iran is the home of Kurdish people. And the Kurds is like Armenians, is like Pashtun from Afghanistan, or the Tajik from the Tajikistan. They are called Indo-Aryan or the Indo-Iranic race, close to the Greek origin. And this is the original part of the Western Europeans, the people from Spain, Portugal, the Iberian Peninsula, and most of a part, instead of Eastern Europe, is the I2, and Southern Italy, I2, and some Scandinavians part is I1. So the rest of most of the Western Europe is R1b, and the Russian are the R1a, and it's comprised with the A and B. It is just like a E1B1B and a E1B1A. There is no difference between A and B, but this is about the location of a geographical map. So that R1s and E1s are the both are the A and B, or the other way around, is the same origin but the geographical location. And let me tell you, the A probably is coming from Africa, the haplotype A, Adam. Then passing to the B. A is today is a Khoisan people in Africa, and a B is a pygmy in Congo, and then there's a CT haplotype, and CT out of Africa, but there is the out of Africa is in the Middle East. There is the haplotype called DE, and DE is the E part of separated from east side, returning to Africa, and northern part of Africa is North Africa, and East Africa, like Somalia and Ethiopia, is the E1B1B, and Sub-Saharan Africa in West Africa and Southern Africa and East Africa is part of E1B1A, is a Bantu population. But what is the difference between A and B is not much difference in the bloodline, but just the location of geographical location, if I wanted to say. And there is a D is out of Africa, but the same origin as a D and E, possibly that counting as today, it is the Japanese peoples are the D1B or D2 in Tibet and some other areas of geographical locations, but it is said to be originated in the Middle East. Even though that the D4I is founded in the Middle East, in the land of Palestine, D4I in Israel, so that E1B1B. And if you see through this today, that which considering the Semitic haplotypes are a G. G is a original Persian DNA, has also transmit to other populations are living in the state, called Georgia, and next to the Azerbaijan, and the H, and the I and J, and L, T, and a K. But L is the most L haplotypes that Sikh from the Sikh population from the India, but not too many Jews have a L haplotype. Instead, very tiny group of T in a crescent area of a T1A1A, crescent area from Euphrates to the Nile. There's a tiny population of 2% claiming to be a Jewish haplotype. But interestingly, non-Jews, many of non-Jews are also inherit places like Somaliland, in the north of Somalia. It is also called T1A, T1A1A, and they are Muslims. And let me tell you something, that N1B is another line offspring from the lineage. Is N1B is the fourth largest Jewish group in Ashkenazi Jews. And then there is called Q and R, and a Q1B is a very small percentage of a Jewish population in Siberia. Also, they have is rather Kazakh and Mongols have a Q1B, and American Indians have a Q1B. And interesting is the Indo-Aryan or Iranic haplotype called R1A or R1B. R1A is inherited by Pashtun tribes from Afghanistan, India and Pakistan's R1A, Gypsies R1A, Russians R1A. So this is the haplotype move into the Western Europe, and they became the father of the European nation, R1A, R1B. and A and B again is just a matter of geographical locations. And I possibly think that E1B1A, the sub-Saharan Africa, so many years intermarriage going with the E1B1B and E1B1A. So this is just about the type of um, locations. And are once as the same India to Western Europe or Spain. It is the same origin but geographical locations. So that my point to making this video to explain to you is during the Bronze Age when sons of Noah, sons of Shem, if it could have a transmit the E1B1B haplotype as the second largest Jewish group today, but it is also the oldest in the Middle East. And those, remember, you cannot deny the E1B1B, E1Bs are the non-Jews. It is already been practiced by the sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, and sons of Rachel. And Rachel had Joseph and Benjamin. And Joseph, part of Joseph, married to the daughter of a priest of On, Asenath, by her name. And she was a African origin, E1B1B, so that after the maternal line transfer, if sons and daughter married in the third generation, reverse back to the paternal line, E1B1B, and it is being practiced from the day first that sons of Joseph presented E1B1B as the haplotype of a Jews, of a Rachel. And it is possibly that J1 haplotype is the sons of Leah. This is my opinion, okay? Sons of Leah from the Reuben, Simeon, Reuben, Levite, Simeon, and Judah, J1 and J2. Okay, either one. And then I1 and I2, Zebulun and Issachar, since the mother Leah and the J1 and J and I are the brothers in the closest contact. And R1A and R1B suppose the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah is two concubines had two other sons, 4 sons actually. Bilhah had the Dan and Naphtali, and Zilpah had Gad and Asher. So my opinion has the R1A and R1B. Instead, the Pashtun tribes from the Afghanistan claims to be Indo-Aryan, and when the Bible you read the 3 tribes east of Jordan, Reuben, Gad, and a half tribe of Manasseh, but many element has to say they are still living by the river Gozan, and they escaped into. They are part of still in the captive in those area. Is actually either in the area in the Euphrates and the Tigris in between, or either some people say that's a part of Afghanistan. But those are, I believe, the sons of Gad, Asher, Naphtali, and Dan are ones, A and B, and that's my opinion. So 21st century, there are much to say because of every generation has transmitted from the A haplotype, but times derived into the future in the forward. Since the sons of Noah, who are the typical haplotype of a Jews, and Jacob had one father, and I believe he was J1, and he had 4 wives, and we don't know that the concubine Bilhah and Zilpah, they might be a Canaanite, they might be a Scythian. It is just only to say that they were the concubine or the servant to the Laban's household, which is the fathers of the Rachel and the Leah. So probably that every haplotype in a small portion, there are the influence of a Jewish groups, even with a J, even with a E, even with a R. I don't deny myself there are the descendants of a E1B1A as well as E1B1B, because this is about the location of where they are. R1A and R1B as well, as I explained earlier. So this is my explanation, and it still continues because of once the maternal line transmitted into the father line, and after the third generation maternal line become the Semitic origin through the father, through the third generations, and it has been practiced since the day first when Ephraim and Manasseh was born as E1B1B. And at that time in history, they are forbid. I mean, they're not usually happen other tribe married to other tribes. It's only kept by the only tribes inherit is one ethnic film to create the Jewish haplotype. It is now always J1 because J1 is always have 99.9% other race Arab and Ishmael. And you cannot say it is Jewish. You know, well, some people say because the Jews are cousins of Arabs, but the most part of it is much less Jews than out of 0.001% are the Jews. Or either the E1B1B is, some say it is not Semitic, but Hamitic. Of course, that because E1Bs are in Africa, but D and E was in the Middle East, and E moved back to the Adams haplotype A. So that living in Middle East, but the origins of E was the Middle East. As a D, as in Japan, Far East, but still D for I still founded in the Middle East. My maternal line, D4N, 1A. And that's a location. D4I is in Japan, Uyghurs from Western China, and Israel. And another word to say is this is the Palestine. So they're also founding the haplotype in the Middle East. So about R1s as well, the reviewing my point, during the book of Esther, it is about 700 BC. It's close to 21st century. During the time, again, the book of Esther, the whole tribes of Aryan race converted to become a Jew. Those are the Iranians, Jewish today. Origins of R1A. And the Iranians are the brothers to the Pashtuns in Afghanistan and Tajik. And these are the also cross chromosome with the Indian population, R1A, in Pakistan. And then they have a transferring into Western Europe. R1B is Spain, the original old Europeans. So this is my explanation. That's the three major haplotype of how the Jews become one people. Okay, thank you very much. And this is another DNA study to explain to you. And if you see the map, you can tell the difference. And I'm willing to talk about it when you brought this subject in the comment in below. Okay, thank you very much, and God bless you.